Another groundbreaking concept that I learned through constellations was the guilty versus innocent conscience,
Yes.
which I thought was brilliant. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes. It's not it's not what we think about you being guilty or innocent. Children are innocent. And in order for them to grow, they need to grow beyond the family system. And then they become guilty based on the family system. You know? So
Based
it,
on this group conscience, right?
yes, yes. They do something that the family doesn't like, in order to, well, look at teenagers. They got to prove themselves. Like, I can
Right,
do it differently than you, Dad, you know?
right.
Well,
So there's this understanding that when we step out of bounds from the traditional way that our family has done things for generations, we're not talking about what's right or wrong here. This
right,
is just the way a family does something, their
right,
customs. If we
right,
do it differently, we carry automatically an inner sense of guilt because
right.
we are risking not belonging to them by going doing differently, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And versus staying and repeating or perpetuating patterns that are sometimes very unhealthy, I at least get to keep my innocent conscience with me because there's a kind of a passive victim way of saying, well, this is just how they do it, so I'm just gonna do it myself like that, right?
Yeah. And you stay stuck. You don't grow.
Right,
You
right,
stay trapped in that
right,
family conscience.
right.
And your soul may be pushing you to move forward, but the family's pulling you back. You know? You can't do
and
that.
And so, how does like free will play a role in all of this? Because I used to think we had one. And
Yeah.
after I studied a little bit of constellation, I started to question free will a little more.
Yes. And I did too. I had a running conversation with Bert Hellinger. I asked him once about free will, and he said, "Oh, so what do you think of free will?" Well, and we got interrupted, and he somehow it never came up again. And I saw him a year later, and one of the first things he said to me is, "So, what do you think about free will? What have you learned about free will?" What I learned about free will is if I'm entangled with half a dozen of my family members, it's like I'm caught in a spider web and I'm acting like them. And do I really have free will if there's group conscience? You know, this family system that I belong to. And I've been working for the last 20 some years, breaking all of my entanglements and identifications. I'm probably freer than I ever have been, but I'm not so sure that I have total free will because I still belong to this family.
Would you say that this trajectory that you just described of 20 years of becoming aware of your entanglements and identifications and removing them gradually is kind of like Carl Jung's concept of individuation?
Absolutely. I think it's our growth cycle, you
Right,
know. I think it's a part of us becoming who we really are
right.
by letting go of the stuff that isn't ours.